A new CNN ORC poll indicates that for the first time ever, he's scoring low basically across the board on all the polls. 40% of Americans now believe that President Obama can manage the federal government effectively, which is down 12% from June. 53% of Americans believe that Obama is not honest and trustworthy, so that's huge right there. 53% don't view him as strong and decisive leader. 56% say he's not a person they admire. That also seems incredibly high. 56% say he does not agree with them on important issues. 56% say he does not inspire confidence. There's something about the 56 number here, I think. But then there's a couple things that are okay in this. 6 in 10 say he has a vision for the country's future, and 7 in 10 say he's likable. So I know there's a lot of numbers there, but basically this is looking kind of bad. Is this just sort of second term lame duck, like you've hung around for a while and now people turn on you?
But I have to say that that tends to be the case, Dave, but we also know people like Clinton, Reagan ended up being actually a little more popular in their second term in some pollings. This is the thing, the president has been too concerned with trying to be right. Particularly, we'll just take the issue, the one everyone's talking about with Obamacare, like your plan, keep your plan. Here's an opportunity to say, am I going to try to stay being right, or am I going to be trustworthy and truthful? I think it would have been better played to say, I was wrong on this. Yeah, I am wrong on this. I apologize for this. That way you can at least, we're going to fix it, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that this is what it is. That will preserve credibility. What he did was he sacrificed credibility and trustworthiness to try to be right, and that was wrong.
I don't think that there's anyone in the White House that's really giving him honest assessments. I mean, let's face it, the excuse coming from the president is usually, I didn't know, or some other lame excuse. I don't, what do you mean you don't know? You fire that advisor who was supposed to tell you. Right. Because if they're holding something back from you, either they have a huge ego or you instructed them to keep things from you. Either way, that's a bad process. I think a lot of this is second-term problems, typical of what every president goes through. I think Obamacare right now is highly toxic. It's not going to get fixed. I think politicians are going to be running from this. So a lot of these numbers are reflective of that. I still think he can come back if he does some of the moments of I wish I would have done better or been more honest.
So you think the apology that he did give, because he basically said sorry about Obamacare, but you think it was too late, and he did sort of skirt.
Yeah, it was like that annoying apology you get from my friend. Right, I'm sorry that you were offended by what I said. That's BS, right? Just own it, and I think people are more forgiving of that than they are for feeling like, you know, you're still skirting the issue. And I agree with you. I think his advisors are echo chambers. They're just really feeding back to him what they think he wants to hear. And we don't have time for that. As anybody that supports the president, generally speaking, and I do, it's frustrating. I'll also say this is just my thing.
Just between us.
Just between us, guys. The president, we all know, comes from a legal background, right? And one of the things we do is trial. Well, okay. To my point. No. To my point, right?
Professor background.
Exactly. See, I'm a trial lawyer, and one of the things we do is when our back is against the wall, we come out fighting harder. I hate the posture and the presentation of this president in most recent press conferences. You slouch down, you look defeated. Stand up, be bold in your assertions of where you have gone wrong and how you're going to right this course. That is something that I would like to see from him, and you're right. I feel like we're...
Oh, no, he's used to saying, let's go have a group meeting at Starbucks and we'll talk this out. Yeah. I mean, that's what you do in a classroom setting. You have more group meetings and you talk.
Yeah. Where's the advocacy? This is a time for him to be an advocate for the American people in a strong way. Even though you've screwed up in some areas, and I think even he knows that and has kind of acknowledged it, you got to acknowledge those screw-ups strongly.
I'm sorry that you trusted me. It was really his apology.
Right. So is part of this, though, that it's very obvious that he likes to be liked. You know, a lot of people say that like Bill Clinton liked to be in the room negotiating the deal, and that it seems clear that President Obama, he has this big picture thing, but he doesn't really want to sit down with everybody and negotiate all the deals. So then it goes to what you're saying before about how we don't really know how much he actually knows about what's happening.
I think there are other things that Clinton liked. Not just being in the room.
Yes.
That's my first point. Yeah. But I'm not
I like how you
surprised.
couldn't get out of that without a shot to Clinton. Okay, good.
I'm not surprised that any politician wants to be liked. I think there's a lot of politicians on the right that love to be liked and are crippled by decisions because of that. But there's no question that this president, to me, is sheltered. He's got bad advisors who don't give him the real information, and he's really inexperienced. He was a professor, not someone who ever made decisions. And let's face it, as a community organizer, he was a really lousy one. He never finished the job. He was on to the next one, promoted before he ever really finished the job. And same thing in the Senate. So I don't think he's ever been through something to see it through.
I agree with that, because again, I do think I personally believe he's a great visionary, and we even see numbers that still support that people believe he has a vision. His follow-through, implementation, and ability to enforce logistics is a place where he has faltered, and this is a place where if you know and here's my thing, my mom always raised me, when you know your weaknesses, and this is a place where I halfway want to credit George W. Bush, when you know what you, listen, just caveat here, but when you know what you don't do well, that is your opportunity to surround, recruit, and enable yourself with people that do it exceptionally well. And I would like to see more of that from President Obama.
I think this is one of the Republicans' problems, too, is that we have been attacking his vision, which his vision is one of those things that's like, everyone should be a part of. Do you want people to have health care? Everyone? Yes.
Right. Do you want world peace?
Yes. Right. I mean, give diplomacy a chance. Yes, we've done that. The problem is that the devil is in the details with him, is because we have tried diplomacy. We need health care insurance reform, not health care reform. There are a lot of these issues that the Republicans have been terrible at because we've attacked the vision. We need to attack his incompetence.
Well, I agree, and that's the thing with Obamacare. That's a frustration for the left. We love the vision too, obviously, but you've got all the effort and passion we saw from the president when he campaigned on selling this concept to the American people and to his constituents. Now we want to see that same passion. I want to see in the details and the logistics. Like, how do you get this thing past a Supreme Court challenge, but the website doesn't work? Like, that's crazy.
And we keep taking
the
out
answer is
parts.
John Roberts.
Right, or we just keep taking out parts of the law, and it's still going forward, which is, there's debate whether that's even constitutional. But is something working to his advantage here, that there's still no Republicans that anybody likes. I mean, you got Chris Christie, sort of. So there's just like a bounce back, even though we're still years away from the election. There's just like a general feeling of like, well,
what's the alternative?
They're not going to do any better.
I have a bunch of Republicans that I like.
Well, give me three.
Give you three?
That you think could be electable, generally?
First of all, Scott Walker has already demonstrated that he's won twice in a Democratic state. The guy is a great guy, a nice guy, who's got a great vision and knows how to implement it.
But
he's not really
on the national stage yet.
Yes,
though.
he is.
A little bit, but most people don't.
He's been tried by the national media already. They tried to bring him down. They didn't. I think you need to watch him. I also like Governor Sandoval in Nevada. I think he's a one to watch. And Governor Snyder in Michigan. A great guy who's really been able to kind of make fundamental changes. I think you got to watch those. I'm all for a governor. I think I would always say we should never elect another senator ever again.
So no Rand Paul for you?
He's not my choice. I don't like his foreign policy vision. I'm a little concerned about that. I think there are other governors that are better.
I'm opposed to Rand Paul's opposition to the Civil Rights Act. That's just why I stand on it. I'd like to put that out there. Yeah. No, I do agree. I like seeing a president who has had executive leadership experience, which is more or less what we see.
To do something more than vote.
Yes, exactly, where you're actually in charge of something for real. So I do think in implementing it and seeing it through, and chiefly responsible for its implementation, which is why I like a governor going to the presidency as well. But I do agree. I feel like this is an opportunity for the GOP to maximize, and we'll have to wait and see if they do that. Got to come up with a better alternative.